Hi there. As I said, I promised a video, and this is it. And you're seeing something that I've never really showed before, and that is my Blender interface. Tonight, I'm going to take you through, I'm going to take you through a bit of a walkthrough for the School of Salem. I'm going to show you the entire school as you've never actually seen it before. And might as well just get started on that right away. I first developed the school in July of 2013. So I actually began working on this layout almost 4 years ago, and probably finalized it after about a year. I think the last things I actually worked on were the race courses. So they're, it's been a labor of love, more or less. But for the most part, this is all locked into place, and let's see what it looks like. And here you go. This is the School of Salem. This is what you see when you first come in, because I have the program locked up right now so that we appear over the Great Hall. And some of the information you're seeing here is this stuff over here on the side actually tells me the size of a building, the dimensions. And I use that by looking at their X, Y, and Z values, which is X is length, Y is width, and Z is height. So I can instantly tell by, say, clicking on the library there of the Great Hall. This is kind of messed around, but these are actually off by a factor of about 10. So the X, which is actually the width here, is 100. It's quite big. I want to say 116 meters across, but that doesn't seem right. This is actually, Z is 25 meters. I can check on this by getting in close to a tower and clicking on that and selecting it. And there I got the actual top. I'm trying to get the tower itself. There we go. So the tower itself is 35 meters tall, and it's 20 meters across and 20 meters across. And if we wanted to look at that in 3D, that's actually what it looks like. Zoom in on it, and of course that's Cyrano's Coven. So this is the entire size of the tower. It's 35 meters. And for those of you that are not into the whole meter thing, let me get up a calculator real quick. For those of you that aren't in the whole meter stuff, 35 meters times 3.28, that's 114 feet. It's pretty high. It's a big tower, so there's plenty of room, and it's 20 meters across, which is actually 65 feet. So it's big. This portion here, oops, let me get it centered. This portion right in here, this section here, was the original school that I more or less developed when Salem was part of a role play. And that's what we ended up making. And then when I brought this over to a world of my own, this is how it all started coming together. And I expanded outward from it. And if we wanted to take a look at it, boy, it doesn't want to work tonight. If we wanted to take a look at it, oh, well, maybe that's why. And this would be looking at it from due east, and as you can see, it's pretty big. This would be looking at it from due east, probably from a little more than a kilometer up. And that's the polar gate right there. This is the southernmost part of the school right there. But this is what you would see if you were looking at it more or less from due east, and probably from about, I don't know, 5 or 6 kilometers out and about a kilometer up in the air. It's quite huge. Now, of course, there's trees all over here. I don't have trees inside because it would take forever to populate this entire area, and the rendering itself would likely drive my computer crazy. You can see the race lines, this tall one right here, here, and here. That's the red line. This line right here along the outskirts of the wall, that's a green line, and the line internal is actually the blue line. And we're going to get a chance to see a lot of those. But here's the southern expanses of the school. And as you can see, there's not a lot there. This is the diamond right here. This is where all the racing takes place, and the start-finish line is right in this area here. So there's like a path between these two. It's actually quite further out than it sounds like in the story, but remember, they're on brooms and stuff, so getting it back and forth is pretty easy. This is one of the groundskeeper's houses, and believe it or not, this path here and this path up to about this point are actually public areas that people from the outside can walk into. Of course, there are enchantments in place which keep them from leaving the path. This path is actually on the edge of a reservoir. There's a reservoir right here. It goes almost right up to the edge of the wall. And if it weren't for magic, you'd probably see the wall. And then there's an area right in this section that is publicly known as Dogstown and was an old settlement, portions of which are still there. So the school, when they built the walls outward, they set enchantments up all along this to allow people in. Now, of course, those enchantments know if there are magical people trying to get in, and it doesn't let them in. Of course it doesn't. Plus, there's always the possibility, when the school wants to, they can lock these entrances here, here, and here down. This is actually called Gloucester Gate. And people would go up to them and imagine they're actually walking along. And the same thing here, you would almost have a teleport, which would take you over there, and you would actually believe that you walked the path. So, there you go. Pretty weird, huh? The train that you take from Gloucester to Rockport, which is, Rockport's right in this area here, runs right along the south part of this wall here. You're actually within just a few meters, maybe about 10 meters of the wall when you're going by that area. As you can see, here we have, this is part of the blue line here. This is the sweep. This is where Lisa wrecked Carrie and Anna, right in about this area actually, and where she tried wrecking them again at the end of the year and was thwarted by Emma. And you come out of Southside Dive, and that's after you come out of Vandercroft Heights. Here, as we can see, this is the Vandercroft Spring, and this is Lucille Vandercroft's tree. This was the tree by which her ashes were put. When she died, she was cremated, and her ashes were put here. This was the spring she used to bathe in all the time. And this is the little caisson that, remember Annie brought Carrie out here and they saw the spring and they walked through and they went down into the tunnels, and their little hidey hole is right in this area here. I'll show you that later. That's the diamond, and that's where all the racing takes place. It's one of the reasons why you have something called the diamond lane. Sometimes positioning this stuff isn't always easy. There we go. That's why you have Diamond Lane and Diamond Chicane, because you're very close to the diamond itself. And this is a huge building. if I actually take a look at the side of it, let me see if I can get this down. There we go. Yep, sometimes that happens. Sometimes this thing gets to be a little cantankerous and doesn't want to go exactly where I want to go. But if I pull this out, you'll see I've highlighted the building. And height-wise, the walls, without adding the roof, are actually 25 meters high. That's high. But you can see it's 244 meters long by about 152 meters wide. So you could easily fit a racing stadium or a football field inside there. And then, you know, there's the roof cap. So, yeah, you get an idea. You know, 224. The roof cap itself only extends up another 15 meters. So, from the racing surface, which is already 25 meters, to the top of the roof is 40 meters. When you clear, just standing on the roof, you're 40 meters above the ground, which is about 130 feet. That's quite a task. There's flight school. I'll move this back so it's out of the way. There's the flight school, and the flight school is on the edge of Selena's Meadow. There's Selena's Meadow. Here is actually, there's the green line turned graves, named so because Vivian Lovecraft and Selena Malthus are buried nearby on the edge of Selena's Meadow. And an important thing to point out is Toft Pavilion was right around where Vicky and Nadine hid when Carrie was being chased by the abomination. So Carrie actually came in from this direction, hit the meadow, came at the pavilion, turned hard left, and right about in here, right in this area, right about here, was where he killed the deconstructor by running into them. So that gives you kind of an idea. And as you can see, you know, here's Founder's Gate, and here's the long trail walk down to the flight school. It's quite a distance. When Annie first met Isis for flight, learning how to fly, she went to the aerodrome, and that's this building right here. And that's just south of the Tesla Science Center where the kids are now. This is where the Super Lab is being held. Here is the Shown Powers Center. This is where Annie and Carrie in the B novel actually had their powers. They were tested to see if they had gifts. And here's the hangar. This is not the original building. This is actually the third iteration of the hangar. The first one was torn down early in, I believe, the 1960s and replaced. The third version was blown up during the scouring. It was actually blown up by Maddie's husband, David. That's where he basically killed himself to take out 4 mecha. Yeah, those biomechanical mecha that he was building, they're quite powerful. But yeah, that version was blown up. It basically all collapsed. So the version of the hangar that's there now was ready for occupation in 2000. And right in this section here is where Carrie and Emma went down during the Day of the Dead attacks. This is where their enchantments, they came around the bend here, and it was right about in this area where they went down. And they hid out in the woods somewhere around this point here. Here's also Double Dip, which comes off of Sunset Boulevard. This whole area here is Sunset Boulevard, and here's Double Dip. And this is where Carrie and Emma had their first accident, and Carrie's knee got screwed up. Yes. Yeah, we love that. We love to hear about that. Let's see if I can get in here. And there's the main gate. This is, you know, this is where the kids came in that first night. That's the main gate. Boom. And they went down this road right here, all the way to this parking lot where they met Isis, and that started the whole thing. There's Founder's Oak, Founder's Gate, the red path leading up to the door, of course Surdwin and Bloodweld Coven at the bottom of the pentagram. And if we look in here real close, look, there are students. That's to represent, I did this a while back, that's to represent from the A-level novel. I'm trying to pull this down. There you go. This is supposed to be Isis with the Euro and African kids who first showed up. And this is just a representation of a normal set of kids standing in front of the Great Hall. You know, here are the two sets of double doors that let you into the Great Hall. You get an idea of just how big this place is by looking at it. And it's huge. The atrium is right in this area here. I'll show you. The atrium is right in this area here. The dining hall is under this roof, and in this section right here, this is the west side of the building. This is where the hospital is located. All the floors are located right there. This is the west transept leading out to Cyrano's Coven, and this is the walkway that we hear about so much. That's it right there. And right about in here, right about here, is the bench that Annie and Carrie have sat on so many times. This is where Annie and Carrie first kissed. It's right about here. It's also where Carrie admitted that he loved Annie the second time. And there will be something, there are a couple of other things that have come up there too. I mean, that's where they sat. That's where they sat when they discussed the fact that they were asked, you know, they had their astral binding, and essentially they were husband and wife. And there will be another event that actually occurs there as well. So that's Annie and Carrie's bench, and this is the path they've walked down so many times, because right here is Cyrano's Coven. This is it. You know, that's the coven right there. Hoo-ha. So this is the west transept, and what we have in here is the two jaunt stations are on the first and ground floor. They're over on this side. Over on this side here is all the security area. This is where ISIS's offices and the security center is located. This is the rotunda right there, and this big curved space right here, that's the library. I have not put any windows in here. I should do that. There is, upside down, as you can see, that's Asgardia Tower. Asgardia Tower, if I hadn't quite made it well known, this was a tower, this is Deanna's Tower, and this was the one that was blown up. The entire roof came off, and the central portion of the tower was gutted in an explosion during a scouring. This is the History and Arts building. This is where Maddie and Matthias teach, and they also teach science and mathematics here as well, just basic science and mathematics. Great Hall. This is the east transept. The headmistress's office is like right about here. All these other offices we've heard of the instructors having, they're right in this area here. This section along here is where all the old classrooms and some offices were located. This is the clock tower, which you can climb, and you see you have a viewing area there. I think I actually have a couple of people in there, but I don't remember. Nope, I don't. And out here, there's Morrigan. There's Morrigan Tower. Yep, that's Irwin's home, or that's the one she takes care of. Out here, we have the Spell Center, Life Science. This is Wednesday's domain, this is Hollick's domain, and here's the infamous greenhouse where the kids have put away lots of manure and where Annie was told she was, DTF. Down to fuck, yes. That nasty Lisa. Up here, Orchestra Hall. This is actually where the auditorium is. This is where the keyboard center was located. Here's another greenskeeper's path. You wonder why there's a parking lot and a driveway here. Very simple. During Ostara, they actually will bring in people from the outside, like normal parents and whatnot, and they drive into the school. They're brought in special charters, very special charters, ones that are checked out quite heavily. So, they just come in and they drive right up to the school and park. Boom. Over here, well up from the Tesla Science Center and whatnot, Chemistry Hall, where formulistic magic is taught. The Instructor's Residence, we all know what that place is. Transformation Center, this is Jessica's domain. And down here is Rhiannon. This is the headmistress's home. And that's her little abode away from all the hustle and bustle, because the headmistress needs a place like that. And as you see, Sunset Boulevard goes right past Rihanna Fettle's grave, more or less. There's quite a gap there. It's actually about 15 or 20 meters, probably closer to 15, so about 50 feet. But still, you pass rather close to it. And Rihanna Fettle, one of the founders, was also the first headmistress of the school. Now let's pull out a little bit. And here's a pathway we've seen many times. And the first place it stops at, if you take the first path off to the left, goes to Geridian Manor. And this is where self-defense and weapons is taught. And where Annie and Carrie just had their most recent test. Walk a little further, and there's another path to the left, and you follow that up, and there it is. There's Memory's End. That's Deanna's area. This is the Divination building, and this is the Numerology building, and we know why there are two, because we've been told so. You'll also notice over here, just right off the manor and directly to the west of Memory's End, is Lake Lovecraft, and it's right in this area here, where you've got that open space that Annie and Carrie love to go to. And Deanna was watching them from right about in this area here, so she was spying them across the lake. And then further and further up, yes, there's the witch house. That's the sorcery area. There's Astria Portal. This is where Annie had her first fainting spell, when Carrie told her, "You are lovely." This was the original observatory tower, and at one point, this was the only way out of the north end of the wall. This is all that remains of the north wall, and it actually stopped like right there and went straight across. There's Pirquat's Grove. And here's Quarry. This is the old quarry next to Groundkeeper's North building. This actually was a quarry, and at one time, when the wall actually came over like right here, then went down. So at one time, this quarry was used by normal people. And then, of course, the school encompassed it. Originally, where the walls were at, this is actually part of the original wall as well. It went like right to about here. And then came down and actually came across and then up to this tower. and then basically came up like that, and that was it. You know, that was the school boundary. It was like that. If I wanted to draw it, it would be like from here. Selena's Meadow actually ended up being outside the school for the longest time. And then it turned there and went up. So they used to go out the gate here and went up, went to here, came across. Pequot's Grove was also outside, and then linked up here. So this wall, and this portion of the wall are actually all that really remains of the original walls of the school. And as you can see, Pequot's Grove was outside. They actually expanded these walls rather quickly. This went up like this and came across. There was actually another tower right in here. And then this extension was built out. It actually at one time went like this and then came down here and then came across to about this point and then up. And then, of course, it extended the walls out even further. Now, north of the school, it's narrower because you have houses actually right in this area and right in this area. But you have two other things. You have the firing line. This is where Helena actually began teaching. Morte spells here, and Carrie first got the hang of attenuation in the firing line, and then all the way up here by its lonesome, there's observatory, and as you can see, it just juts up out of the forest. The trees come up to about here on it, so it juts up out of the forest, and wow, look at that. I not only have a telescope, but I have two people. It gives you an idea of what it looks like, and there's two people for scale. Those are actually about the size of normal size of the students here at school, and that's what you would see. Like when Carrie was looking back toward the pentagram, and I can probably get rid of the red line here. Boom. When Carrie's looking back at the pentagram, that's pretty much what he was seeing. Without the lines there, of course, but that's pretty much what he saw. He was standing right about here talking with Emma. And that's, you know, that's what he was looking at. That's what he saw. Right there. And this is what Annie and Carrie have seen too, when they're looking back and, you know, they look off into the sky and they see everything. Wow. And let me get to top numpad. There we go. And here we have Polar Portal, the northernmost exit to the school, and the north wall, which is the northwest passage. So there isn't a whole hell of a lot to, you know, that's the school. That's what it looks like from above. But is there more to the school than this? Why, yes there is. And right there it is. That is the entire tunnel system. And this is looking from the east. So as you can see, the top here is the east. And this portion over here is the south. This is the hangar section below the diamond. This is the hangar section below the aerodrome. This is the hangar section below the hangar itself. This large tunnel right here, this is the chunnel. This is what we've heard about. The chunnel leads all the way down to the diamond. This is the flight school. Annie and Carrie's little hidey hole is right in this area here. Yeah. This is where Wednesday went out through this exit here during the scouring. And as you can see, there's the pentagram laid out. This is north because there's Asgardia. You know, this is under the residence house. This is under formulistic magic and transformation. This is under spells, under the greenhouse, and under earth sciences. This is the auditorium. This area here is arts and history. Then here's Gwedian Manor, here's Memory's End, and here's the Witch House. And if we come all the way out, we'll find that this is the firing line, and this is under the observatory. So that's the tunnel system underneath the school as it sits. And yeah, it's actually quite remarkable. And as you can see, this tower here actually comes out into Sunrise Tower, just like actually it was Wednesday went out this gate here, because this connects into Sunset Tower. So there you go. You know, she just, and you'll see there's all these little like caissons there. Another caisson there. Another one here. You can enter the underground area from different portions of the school. Now, I'm going to give you something special here. And first, I'm going to show you the blue line. I'm going to show you the blue line from above, and then I'm actually going to take you on it. I have an animation set up that I can actually show you what it looks like to fly along the blue line. So there you go. You have Woodland Path that goes past the flight school and out into Salinas Meadow. Here at the end is Meadows Climb, and you come up, get altitude, and we have the area here called Pentagram Pass. This is where you get a lot of speed coming through here. This goes into Trench, comes into Quarry Turn, and that comes up into Observatory Bend, this whole section right there, where Carrie has pulled a lot of G's. That takes us into Skyway. And as we come along, pass over these areas, whoops, got carried away. And we go past Astria Portal, past Lake Lovecraft, and we come near here, and here is the snaky downward bend known as Helter Skelter. That is a line that is well known. You're on the ground here and you come past Residence, big loop back up into the sky, past Aerodrome to Backpath. You're actually in the air at this point, way up in the air. And that gets you to Vandercraft Heights. This is about the highest point on the blue line, actually. And that takes you into the Southside Dive, where you're heading back toward the ground, into the Sweep, which then takes you into Diamond Lane and takes you right back into the Start Finish. So what I want to do, let me see if I can do this. I'm going to show you what it looks like to run the blue line. So let's hold on. Let me go to my camera, set active object as a camera, and just imagine if you were Carrie. This is what you're going to see. You're going to see stuff come into view because the way I've got the model set up now, so that I'm not, you know, buffering the system when I do a live video like this, or even when I'm looking at this in real time, is I can set it so that everything is out there, but that takes up a lot of memory. So right now I don't have it set that way. One of these days I should set it and do another video so it won't look as if things are building as you fly. But get ready, here we go, and I'll walk you through this. So let's fly. Boom, and here we go, we're off. And we're turning into Woodland Path. Remember, there's all trees around here. We'd bust out of the trees here and zip across Selena's Meadow. And here we hit Meadow Climb. And boom, up into the air and then back. And here's Pentagram Pass as we go past Bloodwine and Morrigan. And we're setting up now to go into Trench. Zoom. And we're down into Trench. We're into Quarry Turn. Zip, zip, zip back. Those are the S's. And now we're starting to climb again. And this is going to take us up into Observatory Bend. And lots of G's right here. High speed turn. Back around. We're now onto Skyway. And Skyway is going to set us up into Helter Skelter. We come around, turn to the left. We come up a bit and then get ready to Helter Skelter. Right there. You can see why you could have problems. We're in residence now, climbing, coming up. Here we're heading into Aerodrome, still climbing. Gonna level off here in a bit. Come into Back Path right here. And we're zipping across, come down, and then back up into Vandercroft Heights. We turn to the south and head into Southside Slide. There, and then down, and then here we're into the sweep. And we come across the sweep real fast right there. We're into the Diamond Line, and that's it. That's one lap at high speed of the blue line. And you can see we're still going because that's the way I've got it set up. It just keeps flying. So you can imagine these kids flying along at high speed. And this is actually a pretty good representation of how fast they would be flying when they're doing this. And there are gates in the air so that it looks like they have an area to fly. And then right into the trees, zipping through the woods, taking a high-speed turn, and a high-speed turn, and another high-speed turn, and another high-speed turn, and we get back up into the air. Now imagine doing this like 15 or 20 times during a race. Zoom, and then back around. Yeah, you can see why you have to know what you're doing. But yeah, you gotta love this one. Helter Skelter. They actually slow up as they go into this because if they were taking it this fast, it would drive them crazy. Yeah, there you go. Back around. This is where you actually get a chance to rest a little bit, if there is such a thing as rest here. Because yeah, you're not doing much except you get this like tremendous whip around. And then you dive toward the ground again, and then right back up into the air. Vandercroft Heights right there. And then down into the Southside Slide. And into the sweep. And into the Diamond Passage. And that's it. That's really what it looks like. It's actually the Diamond Lane. I kept calling it wrong there, but yeah, Diamond Lane. So there you go. Now you got to see what it looks like when we talk about racing. That's what the kids are seeing. At least if you're on a broom, that's what you're seeing. So there is my layout. And you can see I'm bringing out all the tool screens now. So when I'm actually working on stuff, this is kind of how my interface looks. and I go in and I can work on stuff when I want to. One of these days I have to figure out how to auto-populate this with trees. But that's Salem. That's the world. And now you get a pretty good idea of what it looks like. There's what it looks like from the southwest, you know, from the air. There it is. And somewhere down in there are a couple of my kids who have a lot of space in which to hide. Within the walls here, it is basically its own little world. And it's a world I'm kind of happy with. So, there you go. I hope you found it informative. I hope you enjoyed this. And I don't know. I have to think about what I'm going to do next for a video. But take care. Bye.